Oh, the views of women. Um, I'm not exactly on women's high priority list in this world, and I do not think it's going to be increasing much when they see this video. Um, Other than profile for the hit list. Um, Women seem to, well, I think, okay, women and blacks are in some kind of contest to see who's more inferior, and 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 I think the blacks are winning. It's based on the number of laws set up and regulations set up to counter who you are, and I believe the blacks have a lot more regulations set up in place. Uh, Although I think women have a lot too. One second. Let's see if I can explain. Women love control, and they also know that they're inferior. So they're like fighting each other to see. They try to counter the one with the other, so they try to gain so much control that it counters the inferiority complex that they exhibit. Man, if you're a woman and you're black, you must be really dire straits. You must be having a constant battle going on in your head as far as who's getting bent over more, the woman in you or the black in you, and you must not have anything else to think about during the day because. It seems like blacks and women, this is their first their first inclination in any conversation of sort can be only that they're going to be victimized of some sort, blacks and women, and it's just inclination. It's kind of like if you think bad things, if you think the worst, it just may happen, and you can't be thinking the negatives. You can't be thinking that. You shouldn't give your phone number to some guy because you never know what's going to happen. You hear that one in a million tries, somebody 1 in 10 million tries, somebody gets killed on Craigslist. Thus, anytime you deal with Craigslist, you're going to get killed. See, with that kind of approach in life, you're not going to get very far. Okay, and this is sort of the approach with giving out phone numbers. Is well. I kind of heard something bad could happen, and of course it's 1/10,000% of a chance. But just because of that, I'm inferior mode. I feel so inferior that I'm not going to become brave in this world at all, and I'm not going to give my phone number out to you. But if I do ever get married to you, I am going to rape you hard in a courtroom when we get divorced. This is the sort of the control mechanism. They know they're inferior, yet they want any chance of control in their life. They will instigate it, and they will claw you like the Black Widow, and they will kill you. That's their approach. There is this what was it? Obama had lipstick on a pig, and somehow, I guess that's a known reference to in the politics, but I guess somehow that was it made out to be some kind of insult for Sarah Palin, and it seemed like there had to be an apology of some sort. It's like whenever there can be a victim, there is a victim. Whenever a woman can be a victim, she has to be a victim. Lady, one second. The feminists of the world are trying to, make rights the wrongs in this world as far as anti-feminism, and yet they are they're the equivalent of racist. They're feminists. They're called in trying to fight for feminism, they actually are the racists themselves. They are actually the offenders. It's like black people, I'm estimating 75% of black people are actually racist because their first inclination is that they're going to become a victim, and they look for anything to become victimized in any conversation with them. That makes them, they're racist. If their first inclination on any conversation with them is that they're going to be victimized in some racist fashion, you are a racist. In the same aspect, if you are a woman and you think you're going to be victimized by some kind of feministic way, you are a feminist. And I'm not sure what percent of feminists are like this. But it's probably it's easy to describe racist blacks than it is for the feminists. I'm not sure the percentages out there. I have heard at places, my mom was working at a place, and there was this incident in which a guy was telling a kind of a dirty joke, and a lady took it wrong and got him in trouble. I mean, she even asked him, "Oh, can you say that? Can you say the joke to me? Can you say the joke to me?" So he tells her the joke, and she runs off to management and gets him in trouble. And it's like, exactly what, I'm not sure if she has loser stamped on her forehead, but she should. I mean, if you want to be a victim, I mean, land in front of a railroad track and wait for a train, I guess, There's this email floating around about Michael Richards from Kramer. And it's about, proud to be white, very good, that's the subject, and they talk about all the things that have been set up in the black community to counter the inferiority complex that blacks exhibit. They know they have less advantage in this world because they know they're inferior. So thus there has to be these things set up in place. I don't have a correspondence to this for women, but there are things set up like this for women. Like I said, I think blacks is far more dominant than the female thing. But I mean, there are things set up in divorces now, that 50% rule, okay? And I mean, there's been such a complaining thing. Now, women like to complain a lot, so they annoy you so bad, they annoy the legal system so bad that now, there has to be a 50% rule, and who knows how many ladies were sleeping with the lawmakers in that process. The lobbyists are actually hookers or something, and that's how they get women to. That's how they get some, the 50% rule in the divorces. And one second. There's also one second. There's also a magazine called Empowering Women, and I guess the idea is that they already know that they already know they're inferior. That's why they need a magazine to help them, give them some self-esteem in this planet, so that they can live life a little bit more with their shoulders up high and stuff. I just find that to be an interesting name for a magazine. Empowering women. And so it's like women have they like have penis envy of some fashion. They envy the control, the power that men have, and they want it, and they will use the Black Widow syndrome to actually try to kill in the process of getting that control. I've been on Pal Talk and actually hear women say stuff like this, and they use their vagina as part of that power, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But what really is bad news is the divorces, and because of the laws are set up now that because of enough complaining from women and enough sleeping around with the lawmakers, that women now have incredible amount of control when it comes to divorce. So much control that it's now, marriage is not on the rise anymore. It's not just divorces are on the rise. It's marriages are less likely to happen because of the legal rights that women get now, and men are less likely to marry just because they realize that they can be taken to the cleaners. And then women will say, well, women don't get married again because they have control in their life. They like to live a single life because they have control in their world. Well, the duality is that the reason why they're not getting married is because men are less likely to marry anymore because the raping that they get in the courtroom for divorce hearings. And one second. And then there's sexual harassment, like I mentioned earlier in that story. It would seem like there's such a sensitivity. Whenever it's like, I've noticed white people are really sensitive about any kind of joking around about any kind of black thing. You know, the N-word, nigger, whatever. It's just they don't even like it's like it's so sensitive. It's so like taboo that they don't even want to joke around about it or even talk about it anymore. It is like that with women too. That men have become so scared to death about anything that could offend a woman because she likes to be offended and will cry victim at any point, that it becomes a world in which we can no longer be ourselves and have some fun in life. I might say I said to some lady, "You want a mate?" And she nearly cried. She nearly called 911 for that. And it's like, you know, you can't. It's like, and I was just joking around. I mean, it's like, if this is the world in which we live in which everybody is going to be a victim of some sort, and we have to watch every word we say because you're going to offend somebody. Well, my goodness sakes, you know, maybe Michael Richards, you know, maybe he was onto something. And that's why this email came out, because people are defending him now. And so anyways, with the sensitivity issue, in the workplace, there is now an avalanche that occurs anytime a woman says something. It must mean it's true. Like the police, whenever a lady says, "I've been raped," for some reason they believe her. They don't believe the guy. In fact, there's been many cases where they find out that she has been lying, and it was solely intended on using this control power to be a black widow because she had been done wrong in some fashion, and she wanted to exercise some control. And then she abuses the system because she has this envy of power, this penis envy, this I want to be really extremely powerful, and I will do extreme measures to make it happen. And that includes lying in the legal system, and they find out that she's been lying. It's like, what a mess, man. But in the same aspect, it's like in a similar aspect, whenever somebody cries sexual harassment, employers are quick on this draw. They immediately believe the woman, and they really believe the guy. And even in that case where I mentioned a joke, yes, the joke was said, but it's just it's all in fun. And she asked for it. This lady at my mom's work, she asked for the joke, and then she cries victim afterwards. Holy nightmares, Batman! And the employers are quick to snap on the draw whenever there's a woman being victimized. They are quick to make judgment and initiate action. And I have been. It's one second. And they make this quick judgment based on the fear concept that they could then be accused of, you know, some kind of, you know, against women thing, you know. And it's a scary world for us men who have to worry about blacks and have to worry about females. So it is again a control mechanism. That this is a powerful thing, this sexual harassment and this divorce hearings and rape. I mean, you know, and these are powerful words, and they love power. And if they can be a victim and gain control at the same time, wow, they are extra high. That provides them the extra heightening to their life that they require. I have been accused of sexual harassment on I think 2 or 3 times. One was at 3M. It's mainly related to Black Widow, in which they're really hot for me, and they need to kill it. They need to kill the excitement, the lust they feel by doing something negative to make themselves feel better. So they become, again, this high they get from being a victim and gaining power from it. And Black Widow is one method of doing that. It is amazing to me. I just want to point out this divorce. Go back to the divorce thing. I've heard of some divorces that just are to the bone. They're not just clawing to take off your skin. They go down to the bone, and it is simply that they will, to gain as much power as they possibly can, because they just feel it. They feel the victimized and the power to gain control, and they get this high, and they'll wipe out their entire savings, and kill their family, their kids. I mean, it's destroy everything in order to gain this control. Instead of thinking of a philosophy in which my divorce, we did it ourselves, and my wife, she did threaten to, she sort of made inference that she would, spend every dime possible in order to, for the gain control of the kids. So I just gave her the kids. But again, she was on that kind of that borderline there. I just gave in, it is, and it's not because my wife wasn't really doing the control. How do I say that? She's a nice lady. I married a really nice lady, but yes, when it comes to her kids, and this comes because of the caring, the nurturing aspect of women. When it comes to the kids, she wants control. But again, I should have. Anyways, she's a little different story. I have a different perspective of women after my divorce. This whole video would not be here had it not been for my divorce, because I have a whole different perspective of women now that I've gotten divorced and tried the dating scene for a while and tried to understand what women are like outside of really nice women like my wife. Again, I'm trying to find another one like my ex, but they must be extremely rare, and I question whether they're even in the United States. Met this lady at Bogart's, and she's telling me how her marriage is on the rocks because her hubby won't do the niceties that he used to when they were dating. I don't think women have a reality check of the world. It's not all paradise in a marriage, okay? You have this extravagant. It's almost a disaster when you have an extravagant wedding, because this is almost, women expect that kind of excitement in your life the whole way through. When they have a huge wedding of some sort, an exciting wedding, whenever they have a huge amount of excitement and they call that a marriage, they then expect it to be treated like a queen from that point on. So she's telling me how she's not getting tucked in the hot water blanket, the hot blanket turned on before she goes to bed. He's not doing the things that he used to when he was, looking for a piece of, some action, And she doesn't seem to understand that that's how it is at the beginning. And the reality is that, it's not all queen-like at the beginning. It's not all that. So I'm like trying to tell her, say, so don't you have, aren't you happy in your marriage? Haven't you ever had any bad relationships that were? And she goes, yeah, I had a few guys that were abusing me. I'm like, well, is your husband abusing you? She goes, no. Well, I'm thinking, isn't that good? Isn't that something good? So you're not living way up here on the queen scale, but you're not living here down in the slums where people are beating you up and kicking you around, right? Isn't it good in life that you're right here in the middle, and up, where life isn't bad? Yes, it may not be queen-like, but it's not bad. and she doesn't seem to get it. And it's women like this, and she's hot, and you know she can get any piece that she can, whatever piece of man that she wants. Unfortunately, her intelligence is so low that if she doesn't realize that fantasy life is she's like in some fantasy land and doesn't understand reality. And if her sole mechanism for getting a relationship is her body, well, I mean you're going to be in trouble for the future if that's your attitude in life. So then I'm asking a lady over at Bogart's, a waitress over there. So if you see a guy you like, you know, okay, first I start off and I say, well, if you see an ad in the newspaper for a job, are you going to do something to get that job, or do you let a man do that for you? And she goes, oh, I get the job, like it's obvious. She's like obvious. So I'm thinking the same philosophy. Well, if you see a man across the room you like, wouldn't you go after him in the same manner? She goes, no. Oh, no. Well, I don't do that. Women don't do that. So I'm trying to, it's like this feebleness, this lame thing. If you see something you like, you should go after it. And that philosophy generally works for women, except for when it comes to seeing a good-looking guy. Then you have to do whatever the games that are, you know, the hair, you know, the messing with the hair, the eye contact, you know. Hopefully he comes over using the psychic senses and you know, and then they tell me this. She tells me the story like she's proud of it. Like she's proud of this aspect in her life. That this is how they do it, and she's proud of it. And then in the next breath, she's wondering why women don't get paid the same amount of money as men. Maybe it's because men are actually better. Yeah, this is a video. There's a mail out. There's a email out there that fights for whites in the Michael Richards controversy. But this is fighting for men because men truly are making this planet happen. And yes, women are too. But men are not given enough credit, and I'm making that happen. I'm giving them a lot of credit for making a majority of the things happen on this planet that do, because they are incredibly gifted. The guys, it is the testosterone or something that, you know, when it's a struggle for money of some sort, we have the knack, the adrenaline kick that gets our mental stimuli going, that develops chips for the intel, for the technology, for the medical industry, for all the technologies that are going on in this world. I know that I've met some really incredibly gifted women. I'm just saying the majority of the technological advances on this planet have come from men. And it is time that men get honored for this, for being who they are, because they are superior, and women know it. And the reason why women know it is because they act so inferior, that they have these regulations in place, and they cry victimized. They cry victim whenever they're possible, and then they gain that control, whatever mechanism possible. Women know that men are great. The reason why, a large part, okay, women are nicer. The reason, okay, some of the pay distribution problem is that women are nicer than men, and men can be evil. So men are good for firing people, and so those are the managerial jobs. And so some of the things are dealt with. You know, the men are from women are from men are from Mars, women are from Venus, whatever that is, that we are different, and we have a different mentality about some of the nastiness in this world. And women are the best caregivers for children, and maybe like hospitals and stuff. There's this natural instinct for caregiving for women. And men is sort of the bring home the bacon, bring home the hunt for the feast, the hunt for the dinner, and bring home the bacon. There is this millions of years of evolution have given us an instinctual advantage, and for men it's testosterone. It's the adrenaline kick from whatever job we're in. And one second. Many managerial jobs are nasty. They have to do some nasty things. They do some nasty games. And I'm talking about 3M, mostly. They do some weird stuff. And women do not dig some of that stuff. So you'll find at 3M, most of the managers are male. Okay? And if all management is like that on the planet, throughout the system, then, the manager... sometimes the more nastier jobs are the better paying ones. They say that plumbers can be a nasty job, but it also pays well. So and that might be the separation between the pay scales. But it is also that men are better in many aspects. I'm going to send this, going to get a hold of the feminist rights. I want to define another term. I want to call it racism for women. That's what, I guess feminism is the equivalent of racism for blacks. But feminism doesn't seem like a bad word, because there are feminists that are fighting for it. It'd be like so I want to call it racism for women. And that seems like a harsher word for what it is. And I actually call feminists racist. Because when you fight for the equality of women, you are essentially saying you are inferior, and I require things in place to make sure that I am on an equal level with you, and that makes you a racist. Similar to blacks crying out victim because you're not treating me right. You're almost always a racist. Now, going back to that lady, that waitress at Bogart's, and her passiveness to getting a guy and being proud of it, and yet she knows of this thing called she knows the power of her thing, her vagina. I think Prince had a thing for it. It's called how's it go? So, yeah, Prince, he's made a number of good songs, but that one, he was definitely onto something. He when he made that song up, and this is a big one with women. They have an attitude, big time. And again, this is a control issue. It isn't so simple as, that guy asked really nicely for a good time, for some fun, some sex. It can't be that simple. There has to be some kind of control mechanism in place to make sure that they get something for it. They're not just going to give it out just simply for the fun of it. No. That would be that wouldn't be common sense to anybody. We have to, there's got to be a commitment of marriage so that I can get you in the divorce. There's almost like some kind of deviant thing going on in their mind that they have to have something for it. One second. A majority of that control mechanism might be the part of the 3 6s, one being six-figure income. Women, there's an instinctual thing, it goes back millions of years, to find a man that can provide for the family. This goes back a long ways, so I am not making fun of this. This is a natural thing in which women find a powerful caregiver in a man, and money is that mechanism. But then the other 2 6s and the 3 6s are 6 feet tall and 6-inch penis. And so on one hand, women have this aspect about themselves in which they are prim and proper and virtuous and in need of love, and want man just to love her and treat her nice. And then on the other hand, they want a guy with a 6-inch penis so she can be banged real hard, and in the proper way, and then 6 feet tall because she's superficial and requires guys to have the proper the $200 watch and the $100 shoes and everything that goes along with it, because women are superficial. So they want it all. Women seem to want it all, and it's the pussy control thing. I've even heard some women. They'll only talk about it when they get pissed off. I've pissed off a couple women, and they'll respond. They'll say something like, "Well, that's why you're not going to get any tonight, and I am." This is in the process of I'm trying to pick her up, and she's pissing me off. And she goes, "Well, now you know that you're not going to get some tonight, and I am, right?" So they know that they can get it at a whim's notice. In fact, all they got to do is put up a sign outside their window saying, "I need some action," and they'll have a guy there within a half an hour. A guy does that, and it will be there for about a month, and then somebody will take it down because the apartment complex manager will say, "You got to take it down." But with this power, they just can't get it on with anybody. There has to be something in place, and it would be as simple as saying it's got to be love, but it's not. There's a control issue here, and there has to be something. There's guys that tell me that women, if they ever sleep with you, it's because they want something. Whether it's money, or they want. It could be a commitment of a relationship. That's true, but they always want something. They always want something, and it may not be as simple as love. Again, with my wife, she just a very, very simple approach to us getting together is simply. She's looking for a man in her life to start a family and raise a family with. She wasn't looking for money, any control issues. It was just simply, it is time to have a family. Now, we didn't start a family. She mentioned early on she wanted a family. We kind of pushed it off till after college, but she eventually got it and got some kids. So again, my wife is not what I'm seeing as the norm. I met a really unique lady that, and we're fairly amiable after our divorce. Anyways, again, had it not been for my divorce, I would not have seen women in this new light, and this video probably wouldn't be made. Getting back to normal women, I don't understand why prostitution is illegal, because you're pretty much going to pay. I mean, this is a common joke among guys that no matter what, you're going to pay. I mean, whether it's buying a dinner or a drink or 50% of the divorce, you're all prostitutes. You're all. Again, the exception is my ex. I mean, like I said, there is some unusual ladies out there. I'm guessing 10% of them, maybe less than 10%. I don't know. I have a hard time finding women like my ex in Minnesota. I'm not sure I've found one yet. I see this guy was watching a courtroom, and a guy is getting a 1-year probation and a misdemeanor for soliciting sex, and I'm thinking, you know, what is? I mean, he's only doing that because women aren't putting it out. I mean, he's asking. I'm sure he's asking nicely to ladies in a bar. Listen, I need some loving. You know, can you help me out? And women have this attitude where, well, what's he going to do for me? Instead of thinking, you know, well, I'd like to make some guy happy today. Instead of thinking that, they think, well, what's he going to do for me? And I realize there's some other emotional issues among the thousands that are going on in your head, called hormones or whatever's going on in your head, that prevents you from actually thinking, I don't know, trying to make a guy happy. You know, it'd be a horrendous thing to actually try to make a guy happy, wouldn't it? On that note, there's like men are. I can make a video on viewpoint of men. It would be a very quick and dirty thing. It would say something to the effect of this: men, just a few things making them tick. Fits on one hand. Make some money, find lady or ladies, maybe start a family, and try to figure out a way to kill Chris Roller. And it's very simple. Very simple. Men are really simple to figure out. It is that simple. Money, is a place to support, a way to lure women or to lure a family situation, and then kill Chris Roller. And it's really simple concept. And men are so simple. They're easy to talk to, and you know, it's. But then you get to women, and in other words, that's a 30-second clip of men. And then this women thing, this clip is over 30 minutes now. And it is, when I approach a woman, I have to realize that there are literally 1,000 things that could be going on in her head at this very given moment. And it all relates to, I mean, it doesn't all relate, it varies what it relates to. I mean, it's so complicated that, you know, I think the 10th dimension of actually is probably a simpler theorem than what's going on with women. And that's string theory or planar theory. The proper approach the ideal approach I would have to a lady would be something to the effect of, excuse me, ma'am, can you tell me your menstrual cycle so that I kind of know where you're at on that time of the month? And then maybe what she's eaten for the past 5 days. Find out kind of the formula is very complicated here, and maybe she's ovulating. You know, that's to find out her menstrual cycle and all that, to find out when, you know, what hormones are kicking in this time. Because, I mean, it could be 1,000 things based on these combinations, and I haven't mentioned them all. You know, her family situation could tangent off some kind of offensive remark from her, or something I say innocently can be taken in offense, it is so complicated. It's not even. I question whether it's not men are from Mars and women from Venus. I think they might be from another galaxy, women, because when I ask, you know, I ask a lady, so she sings the song, "Girls Just Wanna Have Fun." I ask them, I say, what is fun? What is fun to you? And I say, because you know what fun is for guys, right? Sex is fun. Sex is fun. Do you guys, you ladies find sex fun? Oh, they go, oh no. That's just fun means partying with the girls, you know, having a good time. So I'm thinking, with this level of reality check, and this goes back to the lameness of women, that they can't actually be real about sex. Was it some of these sex ladies, Johanna, whatever that, one sec, Sue Johansson is who I was thinking of. You know, not those are a rare breed. We're talking any women that are that open to sexuality. They're so rare that probably the only ones you've ever seen are the ones that are on TV. That's how rare they are. But the instability of women makes it almost fun to try to pick them up, because you just never know what's going to come out of their mouth. Whether it's whether it leads to anything or just repulses them. It's like it almost becomes an adventure. Trying to talk to women.